Welcome back to the Step Forward Ever podcast. Your host, BQuanchi here. Before we get started, I always like to say the best way to support me in the channel is to like, comment, and subscribe. We do on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch are the main ones. There's always links in the descriptions or about on the channel. You can catch Twitter for updates and other fun tweets. And I do stream gaming on Twitch, which those stream VODs you get uploaded to YouTube channel as other things as well. Other videos I work on, and also kind of Let's Plays as well that I've been doing weekly. I've been kind of excited. I just recorded a few more, even though I have like a little backlog. A lot of it's like indie game demos and stuff like that, but it's been kind of like a fun little experiment on the channel, just because stream VODs may be too long. It kind of depends. Like, I never get the feedback, so we'll see how things play out. But there's still always like slowly but surely growth on the channel. But I put a little Let's Play kind of as like a small digestible kind of bit of content. So we got a very special podcast this week. I want to start off kind of the meat of the podcast because I know how I'm going to title it, and I want to focus on this website called Halaboommall, which is like a website. It kind of reminds you like Wish, or I think more so like Wish. Like when you see stuff like on sale at very low, ridiculous prices, and it's like so too good to be true. So maybe it's kind of questionable. What was the other one? Something deal. I think it was an auction site that I completely forget. But like, oh, you can get a TV for pennies on the dollar. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. What the other one? Deal Dash, that's the one I'm thinking of. And I heard that one is definitely kind of scammy, but I want to focus on Halaboommall because I might have been a sucker for it. So pretty much to kind of start, my roommate saw an ad for it on YouTube. I don't get ads on YouTube because I actually have my account with YouTube Premium, which I get from a different friend and stuff like that. So long story short, I don't get ads on YouTube, but my roommate did. It's like, oh, this really good electric bike, and it's like only $30, free shipping. And so just because it's convenient to do it on my computer, I had to message me on phone. I just opened up the link, and I feel stupid in a sense because usually I'm good about like, oh, just do Google search when it comes to certain websites, but like, oh no, I'll just order it. It's just like $30 and all that because it offered like free shipping, free returns, all that. And then like the next day, like maybe I should Google Halaboommall, and it's like, what's up? Like, I don't like, is this bad? Is this a scam? I just searched the website, and it's like articles like it's a scam or whatever. So I can say for pretty sure, but that seems to be the case. So we'll see what happens. And I also want to talk a little bit about it, like my experience so far, just because it's kind of recent. I'm almost tempted to do like a like video about it, even though that's not quite the content of my channel. Let me in the comments below if you want me to talk more about it. But it's like a little too soon to tell like what I'm actually gonna get. Because one thing that's like a big red flag is I noticed in the email that I got with them, it's like it's encrypted, like it's sent by someone else. Like they always say like, oh, contact our customer support at halaboommall.com. But when you get like the automatic email from them, like, oh, your order's been confirmed or your order has been shipped, it's sent via email.shopplaza.com. Seems weird. Like I actually replied to the order one because I like when I heard the scam, it was kind of like there was an issue with the payment method. Like I tried to like not say like cancel my order, but like trying to contact customer service. The first time it came back non-deliverable, and then later I was thinking like, oh, maybe I just did I reply that was the issue, but nope. It says like that's the actual email. Because you know sometimes you get like order from Amazon or order from whatever website. It's like no reply at Amazon.com, so it wasn't anything like that. And the site clearly says like, hey, this is the email address you sent to, and I clearly did that first time. So I sent out a separate one. I composed a new email, just kind of like small, like, hey, I just wanted to track my order kind of thing. So it wasn't like too like angry, like I kind of came off like I still want to be a customer, you know. But that came back as returned. So definitely email does not work. Even the website points to it. And then again, they did a weird thing where they encrypt something so that it's like an email that looks like it comes from them, but it comes from somewhere else. I'm not sure what email.shopplaza.com is. That does seem very sketch. I thought some things on the website too. It's like, again, it's one of those things like it's too good to be true. It probably is. The thing's really cheap. It looks like it's based in China. Not to say anything, with the issues with the country, but I didn't realize that until afterwards. A lot of times, if they get guarantee like, oh, it's going to be like 3 to 5 day shipping and stuff like that, usually you assume it's going to be US based, or at least the country you're in. Especially if it's a .com versus like a whatever country. And I don't know about this, but I noticed the phone number starts with a 0, and that's kind of weird to me. I didn't want to dial it, but from what I heard, or I did do some light research online. It seems like the phone number doesn't work either. I can definitely say from my personal experience that email doesn't. And I double checked that with either a reply to it or compose a new email, copying, pasting, making sure. So the email doesn't work. And I did get an email about it being shipped. I have tracking on it. It's like from some China post, but we'll see. Because a lot of the complaints I heard is, I haven't really looked into too much. It's been mostly about like apparel and clothing and stuff like that, looking cheap quality and stuff like that. But actually, what we ordered was an actual like full bike, like a rideable electric bike with kind of like the big, thicker tires. So we'll see what we get. My prediction is that it's going to be one of those things that the shipping is just going to get to a point that's not going to update. There's no shipping, like you got lost or something, and I can't contact customer support because the email doesn't work, the phone number doesn't work, so there's nothing I can do. I think at that point I'm going to contact my I'd use a credit card because I also want to talk about that too with that. Because also, let me check something real quick, because I always get concerned like when putting in payment information. Again, I feel a little foolish because I didn't at least do a quick Google search and see. So I might get something, my prediction that I'm not going to get anything at all. And I'll probably have to contact my credit card and let them know that, hey, I didn't get this, put a dispute, and hopefully they won't respond. And it's like, oh, because obviously I can't contact because usually these things, like when you have issues like a package missing or an issue with the transaction, usually your banks will tell you like, hey, contact the merchant and stuff like that. But in this case, I definitely can't. And I'm checking through my banking. Okay, it was about 5 days ago. I'm not seeing any new transactions. That's one thing I was worried about. So I got to follow my banking. So hopefully it just be one charge. Maybe I'll just dispute it. I just get worried like seeing additional charges and had to worry like doing a stop pay and things like that. But I think something I wanted to discuss on that as well, because I know like some of these articles, and I think just like 1 or 2 YouTube videos talking about the site. So that's why I wanted to talk about it a little bit more, just to get some awareness. And again, let me know if I'm almost attempting to do like a dedicated video with more information with my experience. It's just still kind of recent, so I'm just seeing how that order is going to play out if it's just not going to show up and dispute it. Because of this, I'm big on using credit cards. Like, I don't mean that in a way like, hey, charge so much on credit, like buy this, but a lot of times I just use my credit cards to buy stuff, whether it be groceries or even phone bills and stuff like that. And I pay them off each month. For the most part, just a few credit cards that I think just 2. Like, I don't want to get too much into my like finances. Like, I don't have like 20 different credit cards, so don't get carried away. You can screw yourself over. But a lot of them, like if it's like my everyday purchases, I have credit cards dedicated to that because I get cash back, and I think I talked about that before on the podcast. I don't want to get like too into it as well. But what I want to get on this tangent for is that it's kind of nice when you have a credit card dedicated for like online shopping, just in case something fucks up. It's a little bit easier to change a credit card number than a bank. I rarely use my banking information for like purchases on my debit card. It's a lot of times because I'm a regular Joe Schmo. I do work a full-time job outside of this, so I do get paid direct deposits. That's the main thing. Like, I don't want my income to be like fucked up and like, oh, my bank's been fucked up, so now I don't get my direct deposit and this and that. Kind of like snowballs. So it's kind of nice. Like, it does cause an additional thing you have to keep track of. But if you like have stuff dedicated for a credit card for online shopping, and even though something's fucked up, you can call your credit card or bank and all that. I also want to get in this topic too, because I mentioned before in previous podcasts that I have worked for a credit card company in customer service, When it comes to pending charges, they can't typically be canceled. And it's kind of a thing I want to clarify as well, because it's like, oh, it's a scam. You find out, but you gave your credit card information to made this purchase, and you really found out later. You still provided it, so it is a valid purchase. In order for them to be disputed, it has to be either posted first, or in the meantime, when I was working there, like I think this might be like a common rule of thumb when it comes to financial institutions, more like credit cards, like contact the merchant first. Usually that's the best resolution, but if they're like if the sketchy, if the sus, usually that's not going to happen. But wait for it to post first. And sometimes even though it's like they have like convenient online ways to do it, we can just like, hey, something's wrong, like click this, type in what happened, all that. But basically, for pending charges, you're kind of screwed out in a sense that you can't just cancel it right away and call it bank, because that's what I saw with the articles, like contact your bank to cancel these charges and stuff like that. And it's like that doesn't quite work that way. Especially, I want to mention that too, because I feel like people get like really angry and take it out on the customer service rep, and there's like the messenger, and then they get yelled at and all that. So if it's something you actually did, you've been a sucker, even though you've been scammed, wait for it to be posted, and follow up. It does feel like work, but on the same side, if there's actual fraud, like if there's activity on your bank or your credit card that definitely wasn't you, then they can actually stop that, like to do a fraud investigation. So that's one of the differences. Like if it's actual fraud, they investigate that. So it's like, oh, you just put any information on this website on your computer, on your device. Like that can come to fruition in a sense. So don't claim fraud when you know it's not fraud. Being scammed and being suckered isn't the sense of being fraud. Like, did he willingly type in your credit card information, or did this come out of the blue, and all that? So there's always concern, especially with finances, and people can be really strongly emotional about that, and that definitely is validating. I can definitely validate that, and that's definitely understandable. Don't say like, oh, this is fraud, when you know, in fact, you tried to make that transaction. And also the thing with credit cards, like if your card gets lost or stolen, they can stop the card number and switch it to a new one. Don't do that as a solution to get out of a charge. That is helpful, like when, of course, if a card's actually lost or actually stolen and all that. But sometimes, I just know in my experience, like if you report your card lost and stolen, sometimes if like a reoccurring charge will still go through on the old card number, maybe for like maybe 1 or 2 more months. Like if it's like a phone bill or insurance and stuff like that. So it gets carried over, like that way you can contact them and let them know, like, hey, here's a new card number. But you don't want to get like fucked out of insurance. Like, oh, it got canceled because the payment didn't go through because you lost your card and the card number's changed. So a lot of people do that. Kind of a long way to go about it, but be transparent. That's going to be very helpful when it comes to dealing with like credit cards and transactions and stuff like that. Again, my mom was probably like, don't take it out on like a frontline customer service rep. Like, hey, we can't just cancel that pending charge. Like, if it's fraud, we can definitely look into it. But you have to take the proper steps. So that's kind of like my spiel with Halaboommall. So is it scam? It's very sketchy from what I've seen. I feel, again, like an idiot for jumping into it without, doing a little bit of research. I could easily type it in Google, like, okay, this is going to be really next to nothing. But with some tracking, we'll see what happens. But it definitely is coming from China. So I'm not sure if I'm actually going to get a bike, or we're just going to be like, oh, this package isn't going anywhere. It's lost, quote unquote, and I can't contact customer support because all the information doesn't work. So we'll see. But let me know in the comments if you want me to follow up on that. But pretty much Google stuff. I haven't seen much spoken about this besides like what pops up in Google searches and maybe like one YouTube video from what I've seen. So, but Halaboommall seems like too good to be true. Seems sketch. But if I get a bike, that would be cool. But I have my reservations. I have my doubts. But if anyone's been experienced with this website, if you actually got something from them, if you haven't, if you got something and was kind of like low quality or not what you expected, I'll be interested to hear, because I'm, again, very tempted to do a follow-up video But I don't know. But pretty much just want to get word out that Halaboommall site seems sketch. It's been popping up on YouTube ads, and it's a shame too. Like I've seen other stuff like that, and I think when it comes to YouTube, as long as advertisers pay money, like okay, yep, you can advertise. I don't care. Like who cares if people gonna be suckered in, pay money, lose money, whatever, trying to buy your products and stuff like that. So on YouTube, then like they don't give a shit. They're never gonna give a shit. That's the truth of it, as bleak as it is. But like as long as it's come, because that's what happened with established titles and stuff like that too. And that's a whole nother story that's been covered by other YouTube videos as well. But trying to get a word out this Halaboommall site. Is it scam? I cannot confirm, but I'm definitely leaning that way. But let me know. And the next thing I want to talk about this podcast is food and being disappointed by food. But it's not my personal experience. So pretty much something I want to talk about, because I've seen pop up on my Twitter. I know they recently opened up the Super Nintendo Land and Universal Studios, that theme park in, I believe it's in Hollywood. I know it's in California. I've seen people like posting about it and talking about the food a lot. And it seems like the food is not that great. Like I was browsing through the menu online, and I don't even see like the Japanese one. Like this is crazy thing when it comes to like Japan versus USA. Like their Nintendo Land food, I heard, is really, really good. They have a really good diverse menu, but it gets really dumbed down. Like it's pretty much like a burger or chicken sandwich. I'm pretty sure they have a spaghetti dish, and they have a creamy mushroom soup. I hear the garlic knots are like the decent thing, but I heard it's just like not good. Like the food gets cold. It's like cafeteria food in a sense, especially if you're paying like good money for it. I think besides the garlic knots, like the tiramisu cake is good as well, but it is really disappointing when you think of like Nintendo and Nintendo quality. And I guess it's different between the US and Japan, because they've been seen like online, like in Japan, they have this really nice like peach cake, and like, oh, that looks really cool and cute, and I want that. And in the US, it's just a dumbed down cupcake, and like, oh, that's it. It's even crazy. Like, I really want to go to Japan one of these days. That's like on a bucket list. Because even seen, I saw an article like pop up. I'm not sure if it's like a promotional thing. It was a while back, but like 7-Eleven had like these Nintendo Super Mario like themed items as well, and just like their food there, like even if it's a convenience store, it's like they don't fuck around. Like you want good food, you can go to anyone in Japan in a sense. But it's like crazy here like the quality just like plummets when it comes to like Japan and the US. And again, it's Super Nintendo Land. It's supposed to be their representation. Like besides that, the rides, the visual, like the other theme park does look cool. But it's the food I hear is disappointing. Like in here, like there's really long waits, like 2 hours just to get a cold burger that reminds you of something you ate in high school from the cafeteria. So that's a huge bummer. And because I was even thinking about that, it's been so long since I've been to a theme park, and I was almost thinking like, hey, maybe I'll go to Universal Studios and check out Nintendo, because that would be kind of like my highlight as well. Maybe there'll be cool stuff there, but it's like if you're gonna spend so much money, you don't want to get like shit food and all that. But when it comes to theme parks, at least Disneyland, they don't fuck around. That's actually the last theme park I went to. They always have good food, even if you're getting like the little churros or breakfast stuff or the turkey legs or whatever. Especially if they have like stuff that's like hot and ready to go, and just like go pick it up and boom, you got your food. But like the last time I've been to a theme park was Disneyland, and I knew it was after high school, and I'm pretty sure they still had the Tower of Terror from the Twilight Zone. That was still the ride. I think they revamped that for like Guardian of the Galaxies or something. I'm not sure. I think that Cars Land was the newest change with the California theme park. But yeah, it's been so long, so it's just like been a bummer, because again, I was like, oh, that would be cool to, like, if I'm visiting family in California, like make a trip to Universal Studios or something like that. But like, I don't know, it'll be a fun experience, but it's like, And it could be that it's still kind of new and they're working out the kinks in terms of like the food and kitchen and all that, but that's just extremely disappointing. And like, it's something like if I was dragged to, and I didn't have to worry about cost, that would be cool. But it's like if you're gonna spend a ton of money and you're gonna get cold burgers and stuff like that, it's like not really worth it. So kind of a bummer to hear about Super Nintendo Land, but maybe things will get better in the future. And also talking about food is it's a really interesting video that just came out. I do follow him online. It's not like oh, I'm just gonna recommend this YouTuber you probably never heard of, Eddie Burback. It's definitely someone a lot more online presence, especially some of his video really like hits. Like, especially when he did that one about eating on every rainforest cafe. But his recent video about ghost kitchens, and I thought that was really interesting as well. Talked about it because there's like I know I heard some things before, like some quote unquote ghost kitchens will have like a restaurant, but it'd be actually from a existing restaurants like Applebee's or IHOP or Chili's. Like what they do is like condense like, oh, this is a wing menu, so we're gonna like duplicate this to an online kitchen, but it'd be like a wing place, or for burgers, so they'll just like take our same burgers and put it into there. So some people are like, oh, we're going to this small like independent or whatever versus like a corporate chain and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, we're supporting a small business by going to this wing place or this burger place, but nope, you're getting Applebee's. Nope, you're getting Chili's. Nope, you're getting IHOP. So I think I always heard that, and I think when it comes to that, it's almost like a double-edged sword when it comes to corporate brand, because like Applebee's, that's recognizable, but then at the same time, people are going to see that brand is like, oh, I don't want to get food from them because like it's like too, it's like getting like too commercial, like you're getting the same thing over and over, so it's like nothing really special and all that. So like, oh, I'll get this small business. But then some people like brand loyalty as well. So it's like some people like stray away from the big brand just because it's a big brand, and some will go to it because they can, at least they like enough to stick with it. But also, it's kind of crazy. I haven't checked it here in Arizona, but like a lot of ones that Eddie said in his videos, like my man Eddie, like I know him, but like some place that had like 40 different restaurants in one quote unquote ghost kitchen. It was an interesting bit. Like he got like, was it like 9 chicken sandwiches, and it all had the same description, the same like ingredients, like it has slaw with it, with like an aioli and stuff like that, and a brioche bun. So you had like almost like 9 identical chicken sandwiches, but from 9 different places. It's crazy. It's also kind of weird. Like a lot of it's like not branded as much. Like it's almost like if you were ordering as a group, you might not know which item is which, especially if you eat like burgers and stuff like that too. It's kind of interesting to see like they have like, oh, you pick up your order, it opens up a door and you grab it like a little cubby or something like that. And I believe like the popularity with like these ghost kitchens and like delivery pickup, like Uber Eats or DoorDash, whatever, was of course like during the pandemic when a lot of people like can't go to a restaurant, so like order this and that. And I think the shame is like it's overpriced and delivery fees and all that, but people are like, oh, there's all these different restaurants to choose from, but it's pretty much like the same kitchen. And I think that's dying down because people are like, oh, this is the future, like this is how we're gonna get food, order food. But I feel like that's dying down and all that. But it's kind of weird to see. I think a lot of it's like the child market, so people can have their own like branding and stuff like that too when it comes to like having a restaurant or menu. Yeah, so it's kind of like crazy. Like again, like people thought that would be like the future, but again, I feel like that's dying down. I know like some of the arguments or like concerns with it when it comes to like food allergies, just because like we have like 40 different types of restaurants with so many different types of cuisine, like Thai cuisine with peanuts and then peanut allergies you have to worry about, and cross contamination, all that. And I think just for me, I get too stubborn. Like, why pay that much for food? Like, almost fine just getting like frozen burger patties and making my burgers at home or whatever. I like to get the original, occasional like eat out and fast food and all that, but it's really interesting. So I do recommend that video. But also part of that video, he did talk about Mr. Beast Burger, and that's something I heard about as well. Like when it first came out, It's not what I was tempted about, but just seeing the video, it's quality controls. I think that's the thing when it comes to Ghost Kitchen, especially if the like an influencer or a celebrity is like making a quote unquote restaurant through these ghost kitchens. Quality can really slip. Like, I don't know, you should just watch a video. Like, there's like the patties just look kind of overdone. Like if they had condiments that like barely had a squirt or anything like that, so it's like quality control can be very questionable. Not to like put that on like the celebrity, whether it be an influencer or a celebrity, but I just feel like if you're gonna get like paid $20 for like a dinner and you get like low quality crap, it really sucks. And I'm not sure people can get like refunds, like me with the app and stuff like that. It can only go like so far, so it's not like when you're in a restaurant and say like, "Hey, this is not right," kind of stuff, and then they fix it for you. Although I rarely complain when it comes to food as well, like when I eat out or whatever. But it just seems like a disappointment. Like I never really got into like ordering delivery besides like Chinese food or whatever. But usually I'll just pick it up. We had like ghost kitchen and stuff like that. It's like I definitely wouldn't. Like, I probably would never even order a beast burger ever just because of hearing that. But yeah, it is what it is. It kind of sucks, but I would save my money than be disappointed. So next I want to talk about a funny story. This is kind of how I accidentally gaslit my roommate. So this goes back to last week. We were streaming. I talked about that because I bought the new Monster alcoholic drinks that they came out with called, I think it's just called Beast. So I like it's segue from Mr. Beast, but Monster has like their alcoholic versions of drinks called Beast. It doesn't have caffeine or sugar. It tastes a lot like their Monster energy drinks. 6% alcohol, so it's just kind of like a malted beverage, like a Mike's Hard or a Twisted Lemonade or whatever. I think that okay, like I rather just put vodka and Monsters, like spike my Monsters, but I even tasted it on stream if you ever want to like look back to the Breath of Fire finale if you're curious. But yeah, that was okay. But I made jokes. I know I specifically told my roommate about like they're okay, like they taste like Monster, but I rather spike my Monster. Like I kind of give that same feedback to him. And that, but I keep making jokes like, "Oh, you should just bring one to work." Wink, wink. Just because it can makes it definitely look like an energy drink, although it does say 6.0% alcohol. So then, like a few nights later, he like, "Oh, I left that drink in the fridge. Like I brought the Beast in the fridge," and like my jaw dropped for a little bit, and I'm like, "You actually took it to work?" And I go, "Yeah." That's alcoholic. Like I had to, I was back in the head, even though like I was encouraging him to bring it to work, but I definitely told him they were alcoholic. I did say that's the alcoholic version of Monster. Even it says it on the can, but I guess he just like didn't read that and brought it to work. So he didn't drink it at work. And also with the drinks, they don't really have an alcoholic taste to it, so it's not as bad, even though it's 6%. But it's like, yeah, you need to bring it home. Like he was able to get it the next day, and no harm, no foul, and all that. But just like I just actually gaslit my roommate to drink at work, even though he didn't. But also like worried that he will get like busted just because where he works at. I'm not sure how many employees work there, but I'm sure this might be some underage. So just imagine someone who's underage sees that and takes it. Although it'd probably be like they don't tell anyone anything like that, and you're not gonna get drunk off Beast alcoholic Monster drink, and that's kind of a smaller can. That's one of my criticisms is that maybe because I got the variety pack, maybe this is how it's sold now. But it's a small can, so you're not gonna get like buzzed off it unless you drink like 3 or 4 of them. But yeah, I was like, yeah, didn't pay attention to what I said, even though I was also at the same time telling them, hey, you should just bring it to work and all that. So, yep. Just thought it was a little funny story about messing with my roommate. It was unintentional, but no harm, no foul, nothing bad happened out of it. And they drink it at home, not at work. But I can imagine, like, I think just because of how the can's designed, and people think, like, oh, that's the Monster logo on it, too. They were like, oh, that's just energy drink. But just imagine, how many people, it probably happens a lot where people, like, get away with drinking at work, like spiking the drinks or whatever. But I thought that was the funny story. So now I want to end this podcast with a segment that I haven't done in a while, and that's the whatever report. I just find random news stories and stuff like that. And I think I'm going to take a break from the podcast. I keep saying that, but I can't think of much I want to talk about unless more comes up. Maybe when the Mario movie comes out, I might do a solo podcast just because it's little me, no one's listening, all that. But just some random news story going online. Well, this one in this story is that Keanu Reeves actually took the red pill. And no, seriously, he does have it. So that's from a old movie, The Matrix, and I think that still sticks around because a lot of people talk about being red pilled or blue pilled and all that. But there was like a recent Ask Me Anything on Reddit. I think it's to promote the 4th John Wick movie that's coming out. But when asked like he ever stolen anything off set, he said he hasn't, but he was actually giving some props. Like he has a red wing from John Wick. He has a sword from 47 Ronin. He said he actually got the first red pill from Wachowski's. So he actually got the red pill as a prop. So that just kind of makes a funny headline. Like Keanu Reeves actually has the red pill. But I wonder how often it happens. That'd be kind of cool. But I'm sure a lot of people take stuff off the set as well. But it'd be cool, like, oh, you can have this, you can have that. It's just like props that probably just you just sit in storage or whatever, get pawned off. But Keanu Reeves actually took the red pill from The Matrix. So this next story, I just thought it was kind of interesting. It has to do with Chuck E. Cheese's, and they actually still use floppy disks for the little dances or shows they do with the animatronics. I'm sure this would be like lore for like the Five Nights at Freddy's movies and stuff like that. But there was like a little tech talk. This was from like early this year, but they had to update something with a floppy disk in a computer. And even working with other companies too, like some companies are really hesitant to update the technology and stuff like that, and it's really outdated. But even floppy disks, that's like really outdated. If you don't know what a floppy disk is, that's the save symbol that you see on your computers or phone or whatever, a little square shaped thing. But I guess they are still currently using in 2023. I think I even looked in the article like they one for like it kind of like programs a show with the music and stuff like that, but something to go and sell on eBay. So I wonder if people like collect them as well. But it shows a disc from 2021, but there's like a TikTok of someone talking about like an employee and all that. But it doesn't really surprise me, but it just at the same time it does, because like floppy disks hold so very little information in terms of storage. I'm not sure how much storage this floppy disk can have, especially if that. If like a music track, I feel like you can't even put like a song on a floppy disk and all that. So it's kind of crazy. I think it's like one of those things like it's so outdated it can't possibly work, but I guess it does. So like they always use a USB drive or an SD card, but it just like seems outdated. But if it still worked, but you think you just eventually need to update that. But there's also I saw some TikToks like. Because I thought Chuck E. Cheese's were closing down, because I thought there was something about them filing bankruptcy. I think it was during the height of the pandemic or COVID, but it's like, it's still around, but there's like nobody going there. So maybe that's why they're hesitant to update the technology. But yeah, that's just something that is found interesting. Chuck E. Cheese still uses floppy disk. The next story has to do with an inappropriate image. And this happened in Alaska. That happened in a ski resort, and someone like it seemed like from what the article says, like at midnight or in a darker night, they made a giant phallic penis shape in the snow, and okay, you can still see it. Like it took a lot of effort and all that. The funny thing, like I guess like when the managers had to like get a helicopter to fly out and cover it up, or like. Mess it up or whatever you want to call it when they do that. But yeah, just kind of a funny thing. I think maybe because it was resort, that's why they took more action. It looks like it was standard, like it's not something like too like, oh my god, graphic, but it's just like a penis shaped little thing in the snow. I think that's because there's people like skiing at the resort. Maybe that's why they wanted to cover it up or get ready to like stomp it out. Because it seems like even natural snow would just get rid of that. But I guess that's how it played out. You have this big penis on the mountain in Alaska. So Yeah, giant snow penis is the takeaway from the story. So I'm not sure if this one's interesting. I think this has been kind of going around online, but it's about the candied Toblerone, and they're gonna have to change their packaging. They're gonna have to change the packaging to get rid of the Matterhorn, because I think it has to do with looking at the article. I guess the company is moving out of Switzerland. It moved from Switzerland to Slovakia. I said something about using like not really national symbols. That's it. They use national symbols to promote milk-based products, not made exclusively in Switzerland. Other raw food stuff. So, yep. So we'll see how soon that change happens. But just because they changed where they're gonna locate the manufacturing and all that. I'm also kind of curious, like, does that count for other stuff besides non-food items? Because I know Disneyland, going back to Disney, they had the Matterhorn ride, and like, would that be an issue? Like, would they have to rechange the name of the ride or the look of it? Because, like, hey, that Disneyland isn't Swiss. It seems like it's more focused on products, but I don't know. I'm just kind of clueless when it comes to this kind of thing. But because of that, we're not going to see that little mountain on the Toblerone, even though I never ate a Toblerone in my life. I think I think they have ingredients I would enjoy, but I just never felt intrigued to eat one. But although you can argue, like, they had the bear symbol, even though it's like the shape of the mountain, but they used the bear in the Toblerone. If you never heard that before, like, hey, if you look at the old Toblerone, there's a bear in the mountain. So it's a random thing. The last story for this whatever report is I'm not sure if there's like bullshit behind this, but it's 28 girls hospitalized with anxiety after playing with a Ouija board. It said nearly 30 girls. I'm not sure where this happened. I'm kind of looking through it in Colombia. Okay, it was like posted in the New York Post. I think there's more going on, but it's like they're playing with the Ouija board, and all of a sudden these girls have like anxiety and had to go to the hospital and be rushed out for anxiety attacks and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens with that. It just sounds like a lot of bullshit. Let me look the name of the school. Is this Columbia? Because it happened the Galeras Educational Institution, because it's in Colombia, so I'm not sure if there's like anything sketchy, like drug related or anything like that. Okay, it seems like it's in Colombia when I do like a Google search. Okay, it pops up the article over and over again. And Galeras, let me just do a Google search for that, just so you. Okay, yeah, so it's definitely in Colombia. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but yeah, a lot of girls are having anxiety attacks because of a Ouija. And if you've never heard of a Ouija board, that's like the little thing we get to like little pointer, like where people like point to letters and words and stuff like that, like you're talking to the dead, basically. That's like a bad way to summarize it, but it's like talking to the dead through this board with letters and some yes or no or whatever. So not sure what's going on with that, but I thought it was kind of interesting to mention. But I think there's a lot more going on with that. So that'll do it for the podcast for this week. Again, I might take a break, but let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see on the channel. Check out my other videos as well. The best way to support me is to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, BQuanchi all around. You can find links in the description of the video. YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch are the big main ones. But anyways, I'll catch you all next time, and y'all have a good day. Bye.